Good evening and salutations, my Beyond the Gates fans. I guess we'll start off with the whole Anita, Vernon, Tracy, and eventually Sharon. Which I'm gonna be honest, Sharon's a piece of work, just to put it mildly. And Anita's all nervous. She wants it to go well with Sharon. She wants to get the band back together, and most of all, she wants to sit there and find. She wants to sit there and make peace with these women for reasons that I will not bother to understand. Um, and Tracy comes by and Tracy's like, listen, we're gonna sit there and meet at Alpha James instead. I'm gonna talk to Sharon. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Sharon, and if she's cool, whatever, if everything works out, then we'll come back over here, we'll hang out or whatever. Let me just kind of talk to her and soften her up or whatever. And Anita's like, oh well, listen, I'll be sending my prayers or whatever for it. And I'm like, I feel like that's kind of a waste of a prayer. Like it really is. I feel like you know I was gonna make a joke, but it was just corny, so I'm just gonna avoid that. But the point is, it's a waste of a prayer, right? I don't understand like this level of like, oh, I need to make amends. I need to make amends. I was like, girl, your life was fine before Vernon decided, oh, let's get the band back together. Before he decided this, trying to push for you to get these women back in your lives that you had a falling out for reasons and your life is fine, but for some odd reason he just wanted to keep pushing for that, right? And at some point Tracy does go and meet Sharon. And like I said, this woman is a piece of work. The minute she started talking about, oh, your highness this and castles that, I was like, yeah, that'd be a very short ass trip. That would be a very short ass trip. And if you saw the previews, you saw when she practically was like, you can kick rocks, right? And she's all like, oh, well, she better sit there and really like apologize and really feel remorseful and everything like that. I'm like, for what? What should she have to apologize that? First of all, you ain't special. Let's just get that shit out the way. You have this main character syndrome where you feel like, oh, she owes you something because she loved you. So what? Girl, that's over decades. That's over decades. Do you understand just the level of pettiness and patheticness that's sitting there coming out of your goddamn mouth? And I've seen women like that. I've seen very bitter, petty ass women like that. That is just miserable. And I don't understand how she functions in life like that. But she's all like, oh well, she better sit there and really apologize or whatever. And then the minute that she comes to the door, she was like, well, aren't you gonna let me in? I would have slammed the door on that chick so goddamn fast. I was like, the way she came at her, I was like, oh hell no, you done came at her with the wrong goddamn energy. I mean, this chick is sitting there walking up to her like she's supposed to be groveling at her feet. I'm like, what level of Delulu is this chick working on? Um, Now this is something that I'm gonna be honest, is almost kind of it's laughable. It is laughable. It is laughable. It is lazy, and you know what? This is what it is, and you know what I'm talking about. Okay, this is the cat, the Mona, and eventually, um, cat Mona, and eventually Nicole scene. And this is when they're sitting there talking about um Leslie and Ted and Ted, letting Leslie in and Leslie Smith they're putting on a show like she usually does, right? And talking about the accent and everything like that, and they're going through this clothes drive. And they're going through this clothes drive, right? They're gonna sit there and give some clothes to like the less fortunate and stuff. And they're sorting through it and stuff. And they come across a leather jacket, right? And I don't know why, but she decides, Kat decides to dig in the pockets or whatever, and she realizes through all this, Convenient plot scenario that is the same jacket that Leslie wore. And they explain it like, oh, well, Leslie wants to then get rid of the evidence. And what better way to get rid of it than to do it through the clothes drive? There was so many other ways that she could have got rid of that jacket other than that. And it just so happened, right? Because this is also kind of laughable. What are the odds? This is a rich family and stuff like that. What are the odds that they are going through this stuff themselves? Kat, the rich girl, is going through these clothes herself, and they just happen to find the jacket that's there. I mean, first of all, what brainless idiot actually think it's a good idea to get rid of evidence and clothes and stuff like that by doing it through a clothes drive? Like, I don't understand that. And then there's a point where they're like, okay, we gotta find more evidence and stuff like that, and they start going through. I think it was something along the lines of like a coffee place. They had the receipt, and it said like Sherry with a C or whatever. And like, all right, they're about to sit there and go and talk to like the baristas and stuff. And Nicole was like, well, you got to be careful because she's very smart. She's always like one step ahead. I was like, I know you did not just put those two sentences together and included Leslie in there because, I mean, she thinks the best way of getting rid of evidence is to sit there and send it off to a closing drive. So let's not use the word smart, clever, or anything of the sort. Right? Now, these two scenes are supposed to marry each other in a sense. You got Pam and Danny. You got Ted and Andre. And Andre's going over to Ted's place to kind of check up on him. And, Ted is not there venting about Leslie and, how she kind of messed things up with her daughter and everything like that, right? And Andre thinks it's a good idea to sit there and try to help by, taking some of the footage that he used for the party to kind of sit there and show, like, their love and stuff. And, Ted kind of snaps at him. He apologizes, but he's like, listen, you don't understand relationships. You don't do relationships, so you don't understand how that works. And then I guess in a sense I felt like he was kind of talking down to him to a point where Andre snapped and Andre's like, no, I know about relationships. I'm going out with Danny. And of course he had to sit there and make it very clear, hey, listen, we ain't blood cousins, okay? We ain't blood related, It's just like this connection, that connection, but like we ain't like family like that. Like we not, you know. Like I don't know. Do you sit there and call R and Danny? If you don't call her Danny, you're not connected. Anyway, the bottom line is they want to sit there and just make sure that the audience knew that they were not blood related, right? But of course, he tells Ted to sit there and keep it on the down low. Now Pam, um, I guess tried to set Danny up with like a blind date or whatever, but they're also talking about male models that they need, and so she just starts going right into interview mode. And Pam's like, no, 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 that's my friend. He's a jewelry designer. I'm thinking this. I was not there thinking this was like a business collaboration sort of thing, but in reality, she was not there trying to set him up with her, and so she kind of just turns it down, and just kind of rejects it. And Pam is like, "Can you sit there and move on?" Okay, this whole build this and build that, and Haley this and Haley that, and Haley. She's not pregnant. Okay, the point is, see, you're not helping this conversation. You're proving why I'm sitting there trying to set you up with with other people because you need to move on. And she does sit there and just again blurt out that she's going out with Andre, but she has to keep it a secret because of Nicole and everything else and whatever. Um, Eva went to go pick up her stuff from Leslie's place, and this is kind of an aggravating scene because on one hand, I understand why Eva Smith is taking this level of shit from her, well, terrible mother, I'll sit there and say. Right? Terrible mother. And she's all like, oh, why, I don't want you here, you betrayed me, and you're cramping my style, and, you with those bougie people now, and she put her stuff in a trash bag. And she was like, "Oh well, if you have any boxes or whatever, just make sure you give them back and don't take anything that doesn't belong to you." I'm like in my head, I'm just like cursing up a fucking storm, right? And Eva, because that talk that she shared with Thomas, she still loves her mother, because of that, she takes the level of abuse that she's getting from that. And she's all like, "Mama, come on, let me stay, let me." And she's just pretty much kind of treating her like dirt to the point where she left, right? And I guess at some point, Leslie left the house, confronted Kat and Mona. Now, Eva, I could have swore there was, I don't know if this was an editing mistake, but there's a point where Eva actually comes in the house. Then she comes back in the house. And I'm like, did she do it on purpose to sit there and try to catch her mother, you know, I don't know, off guard or trying to hide something or whatever? Or was this just an editing mistake? Either way, she comes back in because she's like, she still had a spare key and she takes the helmet. Takes the helmet. Um, because she knows that she ran her off the road. She knows that she ran her off the road. So she took the helmet, right? There's a point before disrespectful ass Tracy. I could have swore she's from. I'm trying to figure out where she was from. I don't know if it was 227. She looks so damn familiar, and it might. Let me know in the comment section if she came from that show 227. That's what I'm guessing, but I could be wrong. Anyway, there's a point where Anita's kind of worried and stuff like that, and Vernon is like, we know, listen, I did apologize. I do want to apologize for getting your hopes up or whatever. You could just go back to your normal life and just doing charity work, and you could just forget about the tour and stuff like that. And Nita's like, are you not there playing reverse psychology? I'm like, Vernon, you too goddamn old to be sitting there playing all the games, right? What are you doing? And then he's like, well, then he starts getting serious where he's like, listen, if you want to back out now, if she's already here. What do you mean if you want to back out now? What are you going to do? Just not open the damn door? Have the chick fly all the way out here and then not open the door? But now I sit there and think about her little stink ass attitude. I would have slammed the door right in her damn face. I feel like that's about it for the most part. Yeah, I feel like that's about it for the most part. I mean, there was some other stuff that Ted and Nicole talked. I mean, Oh, Ted does give Nicole some flowers and a letter, and she reads it, and she takes the flower and she puts it on her head. I guess it's kind of symbolizing that, not all hope is gone. I mean, they're going to run into each other sooner or later, and Nicole, while she's being emotional, she is also pragmatic, so she's going to know that, like, they're going to have to run each other at some point. And I'm pretty sure that Leslie's going to sit there and do her best because, I mean, to split them up and to get back together with him and all this other BS. Anyway, I saw the previews. And the previews does look pretty promising. I knew at some point that whatever's going on with Bill was going to get worse, and it did. So, anyway, I feel like that's about it. If I missed anything, write in the comment section below. Come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'll be sitting there talking about all the shows: General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Born and Beautiful, Young and Restless, and of course, Beyond the Gates. And I will see you in the next video.